Hello everyone, and welcome to another Chalice Chat. We are here after completing the first layer of the Lower Hintertomb Chalice. I have briefly gone back to the Hunter's Dream during my sound test process to repair my weapon and buy some blood vials. So that explains the blood echo discrepancy that you're seeing right there. And now we are ready to run straight ahead into the next part of this dungeon. And let me pull out a torch, because that seems like a good idea. And, yep, once again, these are not doors. And there's nothing hidden about, so we're going to press on. Oh, we're just going to go straight down. Straight up. This is weird. Huh. I don't think I've ever... that's a new one on me. I've never gone... up. Wait. I must have just gotten straight up turned around. There's no way. Because we went back to the first layer. We start the episode by getting lost. How appropriate. Yeah, see, this makes sense in reverse. We come down and then we come in here. And then we find the lantern and we go this way. Okay, well, after that wonderful false start that I could edit out, but I'm going to leave in because I think it's funny. We are going to take a look at what we have here. So once again, it's another one of these spiral staircase setups. I hear something. I was going to try in this episode to do something a little bit different. Emphasis on the word try. Because as I play through, I've basically just been saying what I'm seeing on the screen. And while that does have the benefit of helping my play and my speech to remain in harmony with one another, it does not necessarily make for the only type of experience that you can have while making these sorts of videos. So, in that vein, I thought I would perhaps do my best to touch on subjects other than the current progress of my character through the Chalice dungeon in the course of recording this episode. Did I? What is this? What's going on here? What? Will you attack me? I don't know. It kind of seems like you will, but you're not. Are you non-hostile? I don't think I've ever seen one of these guys who's non-hostile, but apparently this one is. Hopefully I don't forget about that and accidentally kill the thing. Or, and also hopefully he doesn't change his mind. Did you just change your mind? Or are you a different one? I really can't tell. Are you going to attack me? This is really stupid, I think. And you see, I was going to say emphasis on try, because in terms of trying to do something other than just commenting on what's happening. Because one of the things, this is so wild. Because one of the things that makes it so hard to maintain a steady line of thought while I'm in the process of doing this is so much is happening that's taking me by surprise. I mean, I started off this episode by running the wrong way, and now I'm fascinated by the fact that these dudes seem really friendly right now. So, okay, I'm gonna let that be and hope it's not quite as stupid as it might be. And in the meantime, I will push forward and try and talk about something other than all of the stuff that's on my mind right now in the game. Well, alright, I'm probably not gonna... in a situation like this, where I'm facing a vast horde of enemies, maybe I'll just need to focus. But, ooh, hello. At some point, I would like to talk about, and actually that's an interesting instance right there, some of the ways in which this game and all of these, games in general try to influence your behavior. Hello? Aha! One more. Excellent. Boy, you went a long way with that strike. I didn't. You must have dropped down from the floor above, and that was too many attacks for me. Oh well. What a way to start an episode. Okay. Let's try that again, and hopefully have a little bit more success this time. Let's try and apply what we've learned. Perhaps it would be a wise idea to target that enemy who alerts all of the other enemies, and do my best to take them out first before they can alert everything to come and attack me. I don't know how feasible that is, but we're gonna give it a shot. Hello there. Nope. Alright. That didn't work. Or did it? Nobody's ringing a bell. I mean, I've gotten all of their attention anyway, is the thing. So, oh, forgot to heal. Yeah, I don't think that was especially successful. I think I'm gonna not stick with that strategy. But anyway, I was trying to kind of touch on the ways in which this game, and any game really, can influence behavior in different players. And it's a topic I think is fairly interesting because they're all doing it basically. Different systems that people interact with have different ways of affecting their behavior, and in a lot of ways, games are really about, oh, that was unfortunate, systems influencing your behavior. It's kind of one of the points of rule sets and things. And I don't really think I have any special insights to provide on the subject, but I do think it would be interesting to touch on, just because I think it's an interesting subject to discuss in general and to think about even in the absence of discussion. So I thought maybe that would be something that would be worth discussing as I do my best to survive this particular layer of this particular dungeon. And one of the things that is classically brought up when people discuss Bloodborne in particular is the way in which they have life work in this particular game encourages you to be more aggressive than you otherwise would. You don't have a shield, but you do have a system in which after you get hit, you have a brief window of time where you're able to get your life back, and that encourages a more aggressive style of play. And, ooh, I'm doing pretty good this time. And that's kind of one of the classic examples of things that Bloodborne does to influence your behavior, make you play this game more aggressively than the other Souls games, in which you can frequently have a shield, and depending on your playstyle, you can approach the games very cautiously and basically just have your shield up the whole time and wait for an attack to come in, have it bounce off your shield, and then follow up and kill the enemy. It's not a 100% guarantee, but it's a generally effective strategy. And in this particular game, that strategy is basically impossible because of the way that they've approached their combat system. And it gives Bloodborne a different feel as a result. So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. And I was a little bit inspired to think about this by... Oh, this is where you came from, so you were up above. Okay. But, yeah, I was thinking about this as I was making one of the recent sets of videos where I was thinking about the different ways in which poison can influence player behavior, because obviously you don't want to get poisoned. So if there's ever any rooms where there's a whole bunch of poison around, that's going to influence where the player does and doesn't want to go. It's also going to influence how quickly a player runs through a room, because they want to avoid being poisoned. And in this game anyway, it's not like you step in poison and instantly are poisoned. It's a meter that slowly builds up. So you want to, if you're venturing into a poison area, you want to avoid staying in it if possible, because you want to move quickly through. And, I mean, Souls games are famous for having large poisonous swamps. I mean, from Demon Souls on, they've had giant areas like that. And they're also famous for hiding things in those poison swamps in order to really kind of make an unpleasant experience or segment of the game turn it into kind of a risk-reward mechanic, where if you're okay with dealing with the poison, you can gain a lot of benefits. Or you can incentivize other people to just say, you know what, it's not worth it. I'm not going to run around and try and be thorough and loot everything because this poison is here. And I think to some extent, one of the things that influences which reaction you get, especially in these games, is how much the poison does or doesn't hurt. Because there are definitely... Oops, I thought the... tried to shoot, and it didn't happen. Boy. Difficult to heal around these guys, and they close the distance so quickly. Oh boy. That was it. Okay. Alright. Well, let's try and get back there again. Alright. Oop, better pull out my torch again. But, yep. That's one of the interesting things about poison. And as I was saying, I think there are some... Oh, I bet this, if I go through this way, it'll function effectively as a mini shortcut. I will have to look out for the eyeball snatcher witch character, though. So I'll just keep an eye out for her. Hello? Oh man, I thought I dodged that. Well, getting my eyeball snatched. Possibly killed. Not quite. That's what I thought. I thought it wouldn't quite kill me. And goodbye to you. And also goodbye to 2 of my blood vials. I wish I didn't have to do that, but there it is. But anyway, if poison affects you differently in different versions of the game, so Demon Souls, it's been a long time since I played Demon Souls, but I don't remember it being too bad. I remember you're able to basically outdo the poison damage with regenerating gear. So you can completely mitigate the effects of regular poison. Demon Souls and Dark Souls as well have more than one variety of poison, one of which is basically just kind of a pressure system to function kind of as I've been talking about, and the other of which is to punish you. It's a state you do not want to find yourself in. Trying to get fancy. Yes! And in Dark Souls, that's poison versus toxin. In Demon Souls, that's poison versus plague. And... aha! Gotcha this time. Nice. I feel revenged. And in, let's see, Dark Souls 2, I don't remember. Poison I don't think is that bad in Dark Souls 2 either, especially because there are a lot of slow health regenerating items. They add the life crystals and the Elizabeth mushrooms and a whole bunch of other things that generally I feel like function to make poison less scary. And I mean, sometimes in Dark Souls 2, you can add a whole bunch of those buffs, coat yourself in water, and go running through lava. So that's one of the things I remember doing in that game. So it's not that bad. Lava's an interesting take on that, in that it's a much more intense version of poison, at least in Dark Souls 2. But they still do hide some items and things down those passageways. And yes, I'm totally this is a real challenge here, trying to think about this in any reasonable way and at the same time play this game. I'm pretty sure I've crossed out all of these overlapping paths, and now I just need to go back up to the boss door. And because this has been such a relatively short segment and there was no initial section off of coming from the first layer down to the lamp of this particular layer, I'm almost positive there's going to be an extra path for me to explore down this way. But we'll see what comes of that. Yes, here we have a pathway right here. But as far as poison is concerned, the real thing I wanted to talk about was in Bloodborne. Well, I guess Dark Souls 3, I remember for a fact poison being a joke. I remember being poisoned in Dark Souls 3 and just thinking, yeah, this poison isn't gonna seriously affect my gameplay all that much at all. Might have just been the effect of the character that I had, but I just got I remember having the distinct impression that poison was less big of a deal in Dark Souls 3 than it was even in the other Dark Souls and Demon Souls games. But in Bloodborne, poison is probably... Oh! Wow, they're shooting at me from down underneath me. That's unsettling. That's not something I wish to continue to experience if I can avoid it. So let's run around and get out of this room. And we'll see in the game, there's an area that is covered in poison. And see, this is another example, honestly, of the same kind of effect of the games pushing you in one direction or another. The fire of that giant, you know, being able to shoot up, hurrying me out of that room. I wanted to explore as best I could, but I didn't want to stay in there. You literally heard me say, I want to get out of here. And I started to run to get out of the situation quickly. And this guy's got a lantern, so I want to take him out. These are all little incentives and disincentives and things to consider that modify your behavior as you're playing the game. Things you need to try and take into your consideration. And, ooh, that staggered me a bit. Nice to know. Okay, and blood vials are nice things to have. So yes, this is working out nicely. But yeah, it's very interesting to me how all of these different levers that they use can influence the way that you play. Sometimes to astounding effect. Depending on, and it's interesting as well when you think about a lot of online games and the way that you can influence how players interact with one another online based off of the systems that are in place in your game. I seem to recall watching a bunch of interesting videos and reading a whole bunch of articles on how that kind of thing can work. But honestly, it kind of reminds me a bit. Oh, and we're back. I think we're back. Yeah, over. This is the higher level over that room we were in before, where those giants can shoot up from the basement. I wonder if they can shoot all the way up here. I hope they can't. That would be a bad way to go at this point, because I'm not entirely sure I remember how to get back here. All right, no illusory walls here. So glad I can cross this little room off my list. Boy, I'm getting so lost. This has to open because there's no other section it could link back to. I feel like, yep, I feel like there's an enemy in there waiting to ambush me. And I don't care that I rolled off the top here. It's a break in the action, and I've already been down here. I know there's nothing to be scared of. Is he gonna follow me? It's looking at this point like he's not gonna follow me, so I'm gonna find a ladder and climb back up. I'm gonna try and find a ladder and climb back up. Where the heck is the ladder? Where the heck is the ladder? I know there was one. I came down here before. Am I just totally blind? What's going on here? This is, and I'm not even really, saying anything all that taxing at the moment. I'm just failing to find my way through. Okay, well, let's go this way. Because, this works. Yeah, this will get me there. Was there no ladder? No, there have to have been a ladder. I'm sure I'm just overlooking something. Oop, he got me. Let's try and mash my way through it. Alright. Whoop. Mashed a little bit too much. Please don't die. I really would like to avoid getting killed at this point. Okay, and I've got some lightning. And good positioning means the end of our friend here. Ooh, and blood vials. That's a nice thing to have. But, yeah, it interests me because it's one of the things that I feel like really is unique to the gaming experience. And, ooh, that's an interesting thing there. Source of disease, internal organ might be a rough translation of that. I'll have to look up the official translation for a comparison. But we have been going for a little while now, so I'm going to cut the episode mid-dungeon again, and I look forward to seeing you next time for another Chalice Chat. And in the meantime, thanks for watching, everyone. There we go. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope to see you next time.